baseball and jelly? What's going on? once you accomplish that, everything else is like, oh man, this is easy. And yet my hands are fried. Ah, sorry. I didn't know I was muted. But yeah, the hardest song was a Rush tune. It was like a 17-minute song. Had all different kinds of. It's on the Hemispheres album. It's the last song on this. It's the last, second to last song. Um, the second side has like maybe three songs. Um, but the song I'm talking about is like a 17-minute song, maybe longer. It was a really long song. It had like five different sections, and they played it. It like there was no like back in the day there was no punching in. There was no you can go into your DAW, you can go into Logic or go into Pro Tools and just kind of that was played live, and you can kind of hear it. Like if you're used to hearing like you can kind of hear it. It was played live. There's a difference between punched in stuff and stuff like for instance, Tom Sawyer. This part. If you've ever seen them live, he doesn't play that. He plays it like this. But when I heard it, um, you could actually hear the tape splice. It's weird. You can hear how he spliced it. You know, they spliced the tape. They spliced his drum track. Um, so like you can hear splices. You can hear tape splices, and even nowadays with DAWs, you can hear punch-ins. You can hear edits. Um, but like if you listen to that song, like I said, it's in five parts, and it was a playthrough. Um, that song, because I was really really young, and I was really really obsessive. I want to say I was like a junior in high school. Uh, that wasn't when it came out. Um, I just found the album. I discovered the album when I was a junior in high school. But I shedded on it hard to the point where the blood on my like the skin on my fingers they became like blood blisters, and then um, I popped them and I put rubbing alcohol on them and I put bandages on them, and then I put electrical tape around them so I could play. And then eventually, and then of course, after I'd play, I'd cut them off and let them air out, whatever. And then just the skin was just there, so I would just like cut the skin off, and then do the same thing, put bandages on them, and then put duct tape on them so I could play. Back then, I was practicing for like at least 5.5 hours um, every day. Um, so I learned it pretty fast, but um, learning that like it's like you got to take it in pieces. You learn like it's like eating an elephant. You eat one piece at a time, you know. But I just kind of took separate sections and just kept playing the sections, notating the sections. Oh, he's playing this, he's playing that. You know what I mean? And then I just put all the sections together. I remember I would have like sheet music all over the floor, and I would just go for it. But after I did that, everything else was just easy because it's like I just conquered a mountain. Like the average song is pretty easy. So I suggest that to everybody. Learn something that seems impossible, and then just keep at it, stick to it, and eventually Eventually, when you get it, eventually when you get it, it'll it's encouraging because you're like, man, I accomplished this. Oh, this other stuff is pretty easy. No, it's not a Zill bell, but I want one. Somebody gave me that. I like vinyl cymbals. I'm kind of partial to Zildjian because they have a more diverse, they have different sounds. And just their cymbals in general just sound great. But yeah, man, this is a vinyl bell. Dream cymbals. Um, you know what? I'm gonna say this about dream cymbals. Dream cymbals are one of the best kept secrets of the cymbal world. They're really they're really good cymbals. Oh, you said Dream Theater. Um, I'll say this. Dream Theater. No offense, he's like Neil Peart Jr. He's, you know what I mean. He's like a more rock and less prog version. Even though they're kind of like prog metal, like the early days, it was like prog metal, and even now it's kind of like prog metal, kind of sort of, you know. But like I'll say this: a lot of dudes after Neil Peart are Neil Peart. They're Neil Peart Jr. You know, just like a lot of people after Billy Cobham are Billy Cobham Jr., including Neil Peart. The thing about Neil Peart is he made it different. Mike, I can't remember his name. Night Mangini, the original Mike, the original drummer. I like because back when Dream Theater came out, everybody was a Peart wannabe. Um, but he made his own way and he created his own style, and that's what I like about him. You know, um, and I think he has a more relatable sound and style, for lack of a better term. You know, sometimes like with like Rush, you gotta kind of be into their music. Whereas Dream Theater it's very attainable. But and the crazy thing about Dream Theater is they play rock and roll, but those guys are like just all around ridiculous musicians. Like all around ridiculous. Like they can play anything. They choose to play rock, you know. Portnoy, yes. Yeah, Portnoy came back. I understand why he left, man. He pretty much left because he wanted to raise his family and take a break and do his own thing, you know, which I get. That's his name, Mike Portnoy. But nah, I know he's a bro. I'm almost 60. I I remember. I remember when he first came out. No, I'm not gonna say every drummer is Neil Jr. Um, because you look at guys like Lars Ulrich. Lars was kind of Lars kind of set his kid up, you know, and of course the whole four rack toms, double bass and stuff like that. Um, but Lars, man, he just was Lars was different. You know, Lars was just completely different. To be honest, I don't think comparing the two. I love Lars and I love Portnoy, but there's no like Lars is almost like Ringo Starr. He's kind of like the Ringo Starr of metal. You know what I mean? Um, Camera. Oh man, I can't remember that. Cameron I. Oof. That song. I remember that song. I can't remember. That song was like a lot of these songs. I can't remember them. And I learned all that stuff note for note. Ah, it's in my head. It's on the tip of my brain. Um, can't remember it. But a Rush album that I actually liked better than Moving Pictures was Permanent Waves. That was way to me. That was the closest to jazz that they've gotten. That was a really jazz heavy album. Bro, you got me with the Camera's Eye intro, bro. You're killing me because I'm trying to remember it. I'm trying to remember it. Wow. Hold on, man. Hold on. Let me go in here and search for it. No, no. Don't do that. Uh, there we go. Pink search. Dude up. Dude up. Oh. All right. Ah, commercials suck. Go away. Bro. I hate these unskippable ads. Well, oh, I remember this. remember this. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, it's just a march. Yeah, this is pretty easy. Yeah, it's really easy. Yeah, it's a pretty easy song. Um, that's I'm telling you that their early stuff on like hemispheres and stuff like that, and Caressa Steel, there's no comparison, bro. Their early stuff was like brain splittingly difficult. Um, like I said, the I think I think Permanent Waves that had like Spirit of the Radio, all that stuff. That song was a smoker. And Free Will. That song, Spirit of the Radio, was ridiculous. And Free Will. Then it has the middle part. That middle part that was like ridiculous. Ah, I forgot it. Yeah, there's all kinds of kinds of I don't remember half of it, but there's all kinds of crazy stuff in there. Um, then there's that I can't remember the name of that song. Entre nous. I think that's what it is. Entre nous. But that song was like really hard to learn, just because of the articulation. Um, then of course you got La Via Stranghiato. Yes, that song is ridiculous. I don't even remember it, but that song couldn't remember the name. Off of Hemispheres. You probably Googled it. That song was ridiculous. That was one of the hardest songs I've ever learned, and I quickly forgot it. It was one of those things that you commit to, but once you do it, you're like, I'm glad, good riddance. But like I said, after that song, everything else is like really simple. The Trees is another song, but the runtime was not nearly as long as La Via Stranghiato. Was that song was ridiculous. I had the vinyl, and it had the like. It was a blue vinyl, and it had a brain, the hemispheres with brain. It's pretty dope. But yeah, that song. I'm glad you posted it. La Via Stranghiato. That song was. Whee! Woo! That's the hardest song I ever played. Um, and I went from there straight to jazz. Straight up, straight to jazz. Because it was just like, because I was prepped, bro. I was prepped for anything. I was like, after that, there really ain't much I can't play. Like, you know what I mean? So, La Via Stranghiato. Oh, this stack, it's a Crute cymbal. If you've never heard of them, the company closed in like 73 or 74 or something like that. But I never heard about them until maybe I picked up one at a used instrument store, in like '09, and I was like, crude. It was like a 20-inch ride, and it had a good trashiness to it, but it was like, so so. Um, and it was really, really brittle. Um, but I just kind of I saw the stamp on it, and I was like, I wonder where this is from. No, it said Croup made in England. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know people made. I didn't know there were cymbal companies in Britain. Um, so then after that, I just Googled it. I was like, like where does this company come from? Apparently, they didn't make it very long because Croup sounds too much like crude, and people were like, crude, crude. Um, Plus, they were incredibly brittle. This one I just found um, maybe early this year, and it's a 16. But I made it a stack because I was like, I know how brittle they are. They're prone to breaking like really, really easy. So, you know, I'm not gonna use it as a crasher. And plus, it's too small. I like bigger crashers. I like 18, 19-inch crashers. I hate like 16-inch crashers. 16-inch crashers are just like they're just overgrown hi hats to me. Um, but yeah, it's this little strip is the outside of a cracked Sabian cymbal that I had. I just cut the edge around it, put some drilled some holes in here, drilled some holes in this, and just got some bolts and bolted it together. It's got I like the sound of it. It's kind of weird. So yeah, well, of course, I play drums on this live. Gotta practice. This TV is glitching. I think I gotta update it. Update the firmware. Then you got the police. It's hard to play with this mic in my face. That's the bed's too big without you. Cold wind blows right through the open door, and I can't sleep with the memories. And we dreaming dreams of what used to be. When you left, I was cold inside. That song got a bounce to it. I learned all the Police albums too. I learned every Rush album, I think up until either Signals, from like Fly By Night to Signals, including like the bootleg vinyls, because they would play back in the day. They would kind of sell the vinyls, like the audio guy, the live mix engineer would like sneak like recording like tape recorders, and then sell the board tapes. And then like mom and pop stores, you can go and buy. They would get it pressed up into vinyl, selling it to mom and pop stores. You know, and you can go buy it. So, you know. And really, that was back when it was nothing to hear live Rush, and not from All the World's a Stage, or what's the one? Not A Farewell to Kings. That was a great album. All the World's a Stage. That's the first live album. The second one is Exit Stage Left. They like, you know, that's their live albums, but you would hear like bootleg versions of different songs that weren't played on Exit Stage Left or All the World's a Stage. Same thing with the Police. You would hear like live recordings of the Police. You would hear live recordings of Van Halen. Like, you know, they would play that stuff live. But like radio stations would, you know, it was nothing for radio stations, especially like in the New York, New Jersey tri-state area. You know, where there was just like so many record stores where you could buy bootlegs. You know, there was a I can't remember. There was WSOU, and it was another WSOU Pirate Radio, and it was another WPLJ. WPLJ. They would play like the bootlegs. You know what I mean? The bootleg unauthorized, but it would create a buzz. Nowadays, if you do that, they try to get you with a copyright strike. So, you know. But yeah, they would, like, record labels and artists, they would let you do that. You know, especially, like, I'll say this. I had the Van Halen 1 album, and I couldn't understand it. I hated it until I saw them live, and I said, oh, now I get it. Eddie was playing over my head. But it was kind of like a normal thing. You know, I miss those days where you would hear people live. You would hear artists live, you know, and you didn't have to worry about for instance, even me playing those Rush tunes, I might get a copyright strike. You know, they're handing out copyright strikes like it's an STD or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like ridiculous. So, you know, it sucks, man, because there's a lot of songs, man. Like I want to. There's a bunch of Rush songs I want to do. There's a bunch of Dream Theater songs. There's a bunch of what's the name of that band? Tool songs. 'Cause I love Danny Carey. Um, there's a bunch of bands that I want to like. Like I have a War Pigs. I have a version of War Pigs lined up. And I don't want to, and it's a great version. But don't want to. I don't want to put it out because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So and they'll demonetize your channel. They'll take your channel. It's crazy, man. Oh, thank you, thank you. I sound great. Thank you, mom. You know what's crazy about the song "Beat It"? If you have a problem with a metronome, just play "Beat It." Just play "Beat It" or Billie Jean. It's literally this. I want to say it's Jeff Porcaro. Boom, 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 boom. I don't want to sing too much because copyright. Beat is just like. Then you got Human Nature. No, that's I Can't Help It. I can't help it. If I wanted to, I couldn't help it. No. Helpless like a baby. I'm not gonna sing anymore. Cause I don't want a copyright strike. No. Chop suey. I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I've never. I've never really played it. Like I, chop suey is kind of like Whiplash. They think chops, and it's like, oh, this must be really hard for drummers. And it's like it's usually from like a non-drummer, you know. Um, I'm pretty sure I've heard of it. Well, I'm not gonna say I've heard it before, and it's not. It's all right. Um, but it doesn't really. It never. I mean, I could listen to it. I could pull it up and play it. But I'll be honest. I'm kind of pushing it. With the playing beats and singing. But I like the song says, I can't help it. You know. But I'm sure I could figure it out. Let me see. Let me look it up. See if I can find it. Chop. Come on, man. Go. Go. There we go. There we go. See. No. O H O P. Chop suey. System of a Down. Oh yeah, yeah. It's pretty easy. See if I can remember it. Oh, these commercials are killing me. I feel like this is like some stump the drummer kind of situation. Yeah, bro. No offense, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy. It's just yeah, yeah, yeah. I like this song for the guitar work and the audio, like not the audio, the guitar work and the vocals and the rage. Yeah, like here I would have put. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, yeah, I would have murdered this with double bass. But I'll say this: at the same time, I would imagine Homeboy on drums would have. He probably was doing. Oh, I just broke my double pedal. I always blow out the cams. That's why I buy extra ones. I either blow out the cams or just with the double chain drive thing. I break those. I've broken those. I split like pedals in half. But like I was saying, um, I don't doubt the drummer wanted to do more double bass work, but the producer probably told him, "Oh, bro, kind of calm it down," you know, to kind of make the song kind of more, to let the make it more palatable in terms of melodically. Because I can't remember his name, but this drummer's a really good drummer. You know, he's like really, really good. You know, this dude's bass tone is ridiculous. Yeah, he probably wanted to play more double bass work because that kind of like that playing and that style kind of lends itself to more double bass work. But they probably were like, bro, no, the producer was probably like, no, because I've been in situations where the producer is like, you're like, ah, I did not break this one too, no way. I love this kind of I love that kind of raging out kind of drum stuff, but well, Queen, I like Roger Taylor, bro. Let me tell you something. Queen, I don't know if you guys know any hip hop, but one of the oldest like smash hits was a song called Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne, yeah, yeah, I wanna be your man. That's Big Beat. That's Queen. I got the big beat. A lot of Queen contributed a lot to hip hop, more than people kind of know. Um, Roger Taylor was a funky dude. Queen and Kraftwerk. Um, oh, somebody did a jazz version of a chop suey. Wow. But um, I love Queen, man. Like, of course, I was into Queen before hip hop. You know, when hip hop came around, I was still doing rock and like jazz and stuff like that. I didn't really get into hip hop until like Eric B and Rakim and all of that stuff. And by then, like it was like tons of people out. But yeah, I was just playing a lot of, you know what I mean? Like a lot of punk. I was like heavy into punk back then. When hip hop popped off, I was heavy into punk. need a new China. Well, the thing with Chinas is if you tighten them to where they're kind of sitting and they're not, because when you hit a China, man, it kind of it loosens the cymbal bolt that holds it onto the stand. So what you end up doing is tightening it. But when you tighten it, it chokes the China and it can't sing. It sounds like instead of yeah, like I loosened it and now it sings a little more. But now I got to worry about the vibrations unscrewing the bolt. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Garden gnome. That's a dope name, garden gnome. Wait a minute. What'd you ask? Ah, this is a Neumann TLM 103. 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 On my snare, I have a short SM57. On this, my auxiliary snare, I have a CAD. They're really, really cheap, but they work. I have a CAD pencil mic. It's a condenser pencil mic. But I also have, I'll show it to you guys. So I have a 57 and the CAD mic. But I have them stuck together. My oldest daughter, has severe food allergies. So she gets EpiPens. And in the EpiPen pack, there's like the two, it's like you pull it out the box and it's got this plastic thing that kind of holds both of them together. And when I saw it, I was like, that looks like it would hold two mics at once. Very, very good. And it did. It works. So, but on the overheads, I have AKG C414, AKG C414, AKG, that's another right in front of the kit, AKG C414, and a room mic, it's a Telefunken 271 or something like that. I can't remember, but it's a Telefunken as the room mic. But yeah, kick drum mic. It's a cheap CAD kick drum mic inside the kick. Outside, I have it's a sub frequency mic, which you need it because it's a 16-inch bass drum. But the low frequency mic, don't ever go out and buy one. It ain't worth it. You can make one. Get an old speaker with a 6-inch cone and stick it, because that's exactly what it is. It's a speaker with a 6-inch cone. And Yamaha can't sue me. They make them. They can't sue me. DW makes them. They can't sue me. A bunch of people. CAD makes them. They can't sue me. MXL makes them. They can't. You can't sue, because it's a trick that engineers have been doing for since like the 50s. You know what I mean? 50s, the late 50s, early 60s. So, so I say don't buy one because there's no point in buying one. Get an old XLR cable and wired up. What I did is I got an old XLR cable, wired it up to the to a 6-inch cone, and it turned into a speaker. I mean, it turned into a microphone. Um, microphones and microphones and speakers are the same thing. They're just a diaphragm. It just depends on where it's picking up the signal. If it's picking up the signal from an outside source, or it's picking up the signal from an inside source, like the sound going from, you know, like a stereo or something like that, out of the speaker. You know, it's coming from that source, as opposed to you're singing in front of mic and it's coming from the outside source. Inside source versus outside source. They're both the same. Microphones and speakers are the same thing. They work on the same principles. So why buy one? You can make one yourself. Now, the reason why I say 6-inch, because anything past 6 inches, 7 inches, 8, because the thinking is, oh, well, if I want to pick up more bass, then I'll get a bigger speaker. I'll get a 12-inch speaker or whatever. The problem is that if you get like a 7-inch speaker, you're picking up frequencies that only dogs and whales can hear. So it's kind of pointless. 6 gets you the right amount of sub frequencies. Now, what I did is I don't like looking at a bare speaker laid up against the kick drum. So I mounted it in an 8. And the crazy thing is, if you get a 6-inch speaker, the outside of it, like the mounting on it, if you just take it out the speaker box, the mounting, it perfectly fits an 8-inch tom. Like perfect. You can mount it like a drum head. So I got like an 8-inch tom that I had laying around and just mounted it. But what I did was I put a volume knob on it so I could kind of blend it with the inside kick mic. But yeah, I got a couple of Neumann. I got a U87 AI over there. I got another one packed up. I got a bunch of mics. Oh, my interface. Check this out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mics, 14 mics, running through a 8-channel Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, and it's only 8 channels. Now you may wonder, how did I get all those mics into that? Well, I use mic splitters. You could send like the snares are all on the same one channel. It's actually, the first channel is the 2 kick drums. The second channel is the 3 mics. Now, if you have 2 condensers onto one channel, the phantom power will actually power both of them. So you could put a passive mic, like an SM57, and you could run a splitter there, and then you can have another one that goes to this auxiliary snare. Works just right, just fine. This one and this one are on the same channel. That one, the AKG and the Telefunken are on the same channel. This one and this one are on the same channel. This has its own, of course, because it just needs stereo width. That one is on its own. This one is on its own. But yeah, it's a Scarlett 18i20, Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, and it's just I'm using all 8 channels, but yeah, it's a third gen. I'll probably get another one because I want more channels, I want to be able to utilize all 20 channels. As it stands right now, if I want to record a band, because like I used to have a 32 channel mixer, um, and I was able to record like there was so many times where like my buddies would come over and we would just sit here and record live. You know what I mean? Um, I got rid of it because it was huge, it was big and clunky, and I just don't have the space. But eventually, we'll move into a bigger house, and I'll have the space, and I'll be able to utilize a mixer. But at the time, it was just because like I got rid of the mixer, and now I have an organ right there. I got a mix station right here. I got another mix. I got one Mac with a mix station there. I've got another Mac with a mix station there. I've got another Mac with a mix station there. I've got another Mac, a Mac Pro with a mix station over there. So, like, I can have multiple people mixing down stuff, simultaneously, and they just, they're airdropping files from computer to computer. So, you know, something in order to make space, I had to like, as a matter of fact, that's a mix station and a beat station. Um, but that's a mix station and a beat station. That's strictly for live recordings. This is a mix station slash beat station, and that one is just for surfing the web. The Mac Pro is just for surfing the web. I mix sometimes on it, but mainly I'm surfing the web. Um, but like I needed the room, so I had to like get rid of a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment, you know. No. You don't want to put kick and snare on the same channel. You don't. They require different mixing or different EQing. Um, they require different EQing. There's different ways you EQ. You know, um, so you don't want the kick and the snare on the same channel. No, you can, cause my kick, it's well, no, no. You know what? I misread that. No, you're right. You're right. You can't put kick on another channel. Like you could put toms. You could put them on the same channel because they're ain't much different. The EQing like and the compression, it's not gonna. It ain't gonna make a difference. So I put these on the same channel. Now because these are lower, I don't want them on there. But these two, they require different mixing. I mean, different EQing requirements than these two. But because they're both low, doesn't matter. Snare, same thing, doesn't matter. This snare, even though it's tuned lower, it's the same EQing that you do for both of them. The room mic, it's on the same channel. Oh, also, the beauty of using mic splitters is you don't have to deal with phase issues. Like that's what I love about it. I learned that from Rick Beato. Rick Beato was like, yeah, when I mic a snare, I just use a mic splitter. Matter of fact, I'll show you guys what they look like. Um, so this is what they look like. Stick this in the interface and the input, and these go on the mic side. Now this is this is reverse. This is like the female, and these are the two males. But If you're gonna get mic splitters, definitely get a couple of these. That and you have like, cause usually you have the like the one male, it's got like and then you have like the two females that go into the mics. Well, you want one that's reversed because if you want to mix in mono, you you either got to make something like this, like I've seen guys make them, or you can run these on the two outputs, and these run these run these on the two outputs, and these go into the inputs. Hold on. Then you can run whatever speaker that you're going to use as a mono mix speaker right out of there. So these go to the output, and it goes right in to the input of the speaker. Or if you got like, you can put like little adapters on or something like that. But this is like this is an XLR to like quarter inch, you know. The splitters. If you get a 6 foot one, it costs about $5. The average of them, the average you can get like I've got 8 foot ones. They cost me like $7. I got 6 foot ones. They cost like five. I got 4 foot ones. They cost like $3.50, $4. Go on Temu. Go on Temu. I bought them in bulk on Temu at Temu, and they don't suck. They're great. Like I wouldn't recommend buying anything else from Temu, but they make good mic splitters. You know, I bought tons of them. I bought so many of those things. I got extra ones. Because you never know. So yes, Temu. And definitely look into you. Let me tell you something. I hate saying this, but it is what it is. Don't be afraid to buy used instruments because there's always, oh, my son, there's like some rich couple, and their son's like, I want to play drums, Dad. And then they get the cymbals. I mean, they get the kit, and then after like maybe a few months, they're like, this kind of sucks. I gotta actually work to get good. So they notice that the kid just really doesn't do anything, and the kit is just sitting in the corner collecting dust. So then they sell it to a pawn shop or whatever. Um, that's what I do. I go to like pawn shops, or some musician. He was living with his girlfriend. His girlfriend kicked him out, so he's got to sell his stuff. Or some dude went broke, and he's just getting. Or go to estate sales. You know, you find out some really really good stuff at estate sales. Um, but yeah, that's what I do. You know, I'm married with 4 kids. I need all the budgets and like I have a channel called Drums and Cheap Mics where I reveal all that stuff. I'm like, look, this is how you can record like really really good high level professional recordings, without having to kill yourself and sell an arm and a leg. So my interface is connected to an iMac, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. I have Logic Pro and Pro Tools on my iMac. I've got a Mac Mini that has Logic and Pro Tools and FL Studio. They all have I got a MacBook over there. I've got an iMac right there. I've got a Mac Mini right there, and I've got a Mac Pro. They all have Logic, Pro Tools, and FL Studio. And my laptop, um, my laptop is I never had any problems with it. It's it just I can open up as many like right now like what I use to stream with. It's a template that I made. And it's got plugins galore. I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem on any of my machines. So yeah. Before I got that iMac, I ran everything through my MacBook. And when I say MacBook, MacBook, not a MacBook Pro, not a MacBook Air, one of the white ones, the old school white ones. And it runs Logic, Pro Tools, everything. Of course, I hot rodded it and put like a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive in it and upgraded the RAM and everything. So it runs super duper super fast. It runs just as fast as an iMac, which is it's an M1. But yeah, I never had problems with it. I never had problems with it. So yeah. Right now I use eh, I use Pro Tools if I'm doing a lot of editing. Pro Tools is really good for editing. Um, FL Studio, of course, is just for making beats. Um, I actually have Ableton too. I got to get into Ableton, but FL Studio is for just for making beats. Um, Logic is a good in between. It's it edits really good, but it also it's pretty dummy proof. And I don't like having a thing. I'm a dummy, and I need stuff dummy proof. So I use Logic. Um, Now, whether you're using Reaper, FL, well, FL, not really. FL is good for production, like creation and production. But mixing and mastering, editing, ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's good, and it has really good sounds. But anything else, if you're just making beats and stuff like that, I'm not even gonna say production, just beat making. It's really for beat making. Um, Reaper, you can record, mix, master. Logic, like in Europe, people use Logic. They don't like America. They use Pro Tools. It's like, oh, Pro Tools. In Europe, they use Logic. They use Logic like we use Pro Tools. You go to every studio in Europe, they mix and master with Logic. They record, mix, master with Logic. In America, of course, they record. You go to the studio standard is Pro Tools. But there is a sound difference. The compression rate is different. But my point is, with Reaper, with Logic, and with Pro Tools, you can do whatever you want. You can record, you can create, you can mix, you can master, you can edit, you can do anything you want with it. And I'll say this, I use Logic cuz Logic has a new feature where you can do a stem splitter where you actually import a song into your DAW and you can split all like the guitars are here, the vocals are here, the bass is here, the drums are here. Like you can split that stuff up. Whereas Pro Tools doesn't have it, Reaper doesn't have it. I think Logic is the only one so far that has a stem splitter. And when you get Logic, you buy Logic. You pay $300 and you own it forever, forever and ever, and ever and ever. Pro Tools, it's a subscription. Reapers, you can buy it and you own it. You know, but and I want to get into Reaper. I've heard good things about Reaper, and I think it's Cheryl. Hey, what's going on, Turtles? Can you use an iPad? Yeah, you can, because it's all USB. It's all USB based. It's USB 2, USB 3, whatever. Just the little oval USB. It's that one. So, like, and they have people been recording with iPads, bro. Definitely, you can definitely use an iPad, man. Especially like the newer iPads. They're like they're more powerful, so you can really, really, you can do some stuff. Yes, it is. Um, you'll need, yeah, that's what it's made for. Oh, hold on. Oh, my baby girl's in the chat. Um, Let me think. Yeah, definitely. Um, it depends on what kind of DSLR you have. In terms of like the connection. But I think most DSLRs they've got like an USB 3 kind of input. Um, which, if it has one, then I would suggest this: don't get an iRig. The reason why I say that is I had an iRig. Like when I first started streaming, I had an iRig, and the problem with the iRigs is they hum, and the reason why they hum is because they're not grounded. No matter what you can do, I've done everything to try to ground them. They're not grounded, so you're always going to hear a hum. Number one. Number two, there's a there's a there's an alternative to an iRig. It's called a Joyo. Joyo. Hold on. It's powered by your phone, or if you're using a DSLR, it's powered by your DSLR. Now, the difference between that and an iRig, number one, iRig is passive, so if it ain't grounded, it's gonna hum. There's always gonna be a slight like white noise. And sometimes it gets really, really bad. And I've found that the more you use it, the worse it gets. The Joyos, it's got more options. You can hook it up to your iPhone. You can hook it up to it's got an iPhone like the Fire or the Lightning adapter. Or if you got like USB C, you could, if your laptop has USB C input, you could use it there. If your DSLR has a USB C input, you could use it there. It's quiet, it's powered, and it's cheaper. And the IK Media, the app that you got to use, if you like right now, I'm using my phone. You know what I mean? I have my phone set to 4K 60 FPS, and I never have any problems. I don't even have problems like of it draining my phone battery. It runs great. So I suggest the Joyo alternative. And of course, if you're using a DSLR, you don't need to download. No, it's just gonna plug right in and boom, it's gonna work. So use the Joyo. It's way better. It's quieter. It sounds and like you can actually change. You can change it from I think it's 41K. There's 41, 48, and then there's like 96. But you could change it from 41 or 4, I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. The sample rate, whatever. You could change it from 41 to 48, which 48 is kind of standard. They use The only time they use 96 is if they're using if it's for uh, like orchestral music, or you have a big band, big jazz band where you're just playing Duke Ellington. You know what I mean? Where if you got like a horn section, yeah, you got like the trumpet section and the trombone section and the saxophone section, and you know what I mean? It's like a 32 piece jazz orchestra, or you're doing like classical music. You know what I mean? Or chamber music. That's where you want really, really high definition, because you've got so many pieces. Now, if you use it on regular jazz or jazz fusion or rock or blues or country or anything else, it's going to sound cold and sterile. It sounds horrible. So generally, the standard, the sample rate standard is 48. With the Joyo, you can actually set it to 48. So and it's got its own volume knob. Man, it's got more options. It's just better. It's a better interface. So yeah, Jordan, what's going on, my man? My brother, what is popping? But yeah, so get a Joyo. If your DSLR doesn't have, if it doesn't have, because some of them have, they have the what do you call it, inputs? They have the two XLR inputs. They might have one, some have two, but that's what I do. That's what I would do if I had a DSLR. You know, no problem, no problem. Ah! Hey, yo. Oh, yo. I'm listening to something. This girl is funny. Um, you say jazz rudiments? There are really no jazz rudiments. I use the same rudiments for jazz that I use um, for rock or gospel or um,
I mainly use singles, doubles, and paradiddles. Well, singles, doubles, and inverted paradiddles because they sound like accented singles. Here's an example. Ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get better at not burping in the mic. Now, when I play doubles, I go. So they all, I try to get them to all sound the same, but I try to get them to all sound the same, and I try to make it so my all the rudiments I play, I can play them cleanly and at the same speed. You know, ooh, that's hard to control. You know, but if you want to gain speed, speed comes from repetition. First, work on finger technique. Again, I always tell people this when I explain it to them. This is the fulcrum. This creates the movement, like the middle of this part of your middle finger. So you're doing this. You notice these two fingers aren't doing anything. Now I don't play like that. I just so work on your finger technique number one, and don't when you're playing, when you're practicing or you're learning your rudiments, um, play as play as play at a medium pace, like like just try to play it as cleanly as possible, and try to get all your rudiments to to sound the same. I used to be this guy, trying to learn how to try to like get my speed up, but number one, you burn a lot of energy. Number two, you get really really tense. Number three, it's a good way to get carpal tunnel. So so
Guys, I am not used to this mute unmute, but jazz rudiments. There are no jazz rudiments. They're just rudiments. I use singles, doubles, and paradiddles. Singles, doubles, paradiddles. Singles, doubles, paradiddles. But that's what I do. And I start off as slowly as possible. Like I try to keep it as relaxed as possible. And the reason why I use inverted paradiddles is because they sound like accented singles. And the way I play my doubles, I start with a single first. But I also play them like this. That way they all sound the same. They all sound uniform. And I suggest developing finger technique. This is the fulcrum. this creates the movement. I'm doing this. If you notice these two, I purposely poke these out to let you see that these, I don't, in order to create the movement, you don't need these two fingers. Now, what these two fingers do is they create stability. These two, they create stability. And stability is important because once you get to certain speeds, it the the, the difficulty isn't playing fast. The difficulty is maintaining control. And these give you the control. You know, these give you control. But I highly suggest don't don't do this. Don't do what I used to do. You know, because it's a good way to get carpal tunnel. Number one, number two, it takes a lot of energy. Number three, you really don't gain speed. You don't gain speed in endurance. You know, playing with my fingers, just relaxing. And once you do it, um, if you start feeling any tenseness, stop playing. Shake it out, and then come back and start again. Start feeling tense, shake it out. Relax, put the sticks down, stretch, start again. What you'll find is those shake it out, stretch your arms, those, the stops, or the reason to stop, you know, because you're getting tense, they'll become less and less. You'll be able to play longer and longer and longer and longer because your body has just gotten used to it. But yeah, just try to stay as relaxed as possible. Don't try to go for speed. Just go for repetition. I say this all the time. Like I blew out my elbow and my wrists, and this is like a while ago. Just from bad technique, and the company I was working for at the time, we had really good insurance. And I went to this really, really high-end rehab place, like the Falcons were going there, and back in the day, it used to be the Atlanta Thrashers. There's a hockey team. They don't have a hockey team anymore. But they were going there, and they, I basically, they revamped my whole technique, and they were like, you play too stiff, and I really had to revamp my whole style. I had to use finger technique. So that's what I did to develop it. But yeah. But I gotta go because I'm looking at my phone and it's at like 5%. It's about to shut off. So I'll be back.